Welcome, everyone, to the first remote learning in CPS Family Forum. My name is Ana Laura Narro, and I'm an organizer from the Southwest Organizing Project. And I'm going to give the instructions in the Spanish for the Spanish speakers about how to find interpretation and how to rename yourself if you want to speak in a breaking room. So Irene is our interpreter. Can you please present yourself, Irene?
Yes, good morning. My name is Irene. I will be the Spanish interpreter today. Buenos días, mi nombre es Irene. Hoy seré la intérprete de español. Gracias. Thank you.
Gracias, Irene. So, bienvenidos a todos al primer foro de familias sobre el aprendizaje remoto. Y por favor, si usted quiere obtener información, siga estas indicaciones. So, Jasmine, ¿me puedes enseñar las slides para? So, si usted está dentro de un teléfono y usted quiere obtener la información de cómo escuchar a Irene en su interpretación, por favor, haga clic en los dots que están abajo, los puntos, donde dice puntos y dice más, y ahí encontrará, usted elegirá español. Si usted está en una computadora, lo que usted va a buscar en la parte de abajo, en su izquierda, va a ver este símbolo donde dice interpretación y usted escogerá, hará un clic ahí para escoger en español. Aparte, nosotros en el día de hoy vamos a estar en Breakout Rooms, en reuniones individuales. Y si usted quiere estar en una reunión donde las participantes hablen español, usted deberá de cambiar su nombre. Estas son las instrucciones de cómo cambiar su nombre. Deberá de usted poner su nombre adelante de su nombre, el asterisco o la estrellita, por ejemplo, asterisco Mónica. ¿Cómo podemos hacer esto? Si usted está desde un teléfono, lo que usted tiene que ir es a buscar su nombre en la lista de participantes, donde dice participantes, busca su nombre, hace un clic y cambia su nombre donde dice cambiar y le añade al principio de su nombre un asterisco. Si usted está dentro de una computadora, en la parte de arriba donde dice mute y los puntos, hace clic y aparecerán estas opciones. Hace clic en donde dice rename. Y entonces usted podrá poner un asterisco en su nombre para que pueda usted ser puesto en un salón donde estarán participantes que hablen español. So thank you everyone for your patience. We are here to talk especially about how to support the students and families in remote learning. When we say kids staying online should not be left behind, we're not saying that to divide parents against one another. We all deserve more. So the purpose of today is to come together to be here and to invite you to brainstorm with us as we put forth our demands to make sure that remote learning is at the best for our children. Today we will hear a couple of powerful testimonies, and then we will go to our breakout rooms where we can continue to listen to each other on what is working and what is not working. Remote learners are being forgotten in the middle of some tough decisions, and we cannot let this to continue. We invite you to brainstorm toward our children's education for the future. It is our time to be here. So thank you again for being with us in this first family forum on remote learning. And I wanted to acknowledge the sponsors for these events: Brighton Park Neighborhood Council, Kenwood Oakland Community Organization, Logan Square Neighborhood Association, Northside Organization, Action for Justice, Raise Your Hand, Southwest Organizing Project, and we know we have a representation also from Resurrection Project website, Health Authority, Future Ties, Centro de Trabajadores Unidos, and Family Focus Team. So let's start this forum. Jasmine and Monica, it's your turn, girls.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Monica Espinosa, and I'm a parent organizer with the Logan Square Neighborhood Association. But my main role is that I'm a parent, I'm a CPS parent, and we're here super excited. Thank you, Laura, for that great introduction. And now I'd like to introduce my co-chair this morning.
Hi, Monica. Good morning. Hi, everyone. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the amazing introduction. I am a parent mentor organizer with Brighton Park Neighborhood Council, as well as a CPS graduate and a CPS parent.
Oh my God.
Yes. So when we say kids are staying online, should not be left behind. This isn't dividing, right? Like Ana Laura said, we're not here to divide each other. We're here to come together as one because we all deserve more. So we are here together as a very cold morning. I know that we're going through tremendous grieving and losses, but today we want to turn that grief into power. Today we want to turn all that year that if somebody had told us before, like you're gonna stay at home for 1 year, it would have been crazy. But that is our situation, but that will not define us this morning. So you were told to turn off your mic, but for this activity, I want everybody to turn up their mics because you guys are not gonna leave me alone, okay? We're gonna be doing a chanting and we're gonna do like one round in Spanish and one in English to see like who is more committed to getting our kids back to school, and who wants to keep their kids at home healthy. So when I say kids are staying online, you guys are gonna say should not be left behind. Okay? Can we do like a run test for now? This is not a
Monica.
real, okay? We're gonna do it one time and then the real is so
Do not let us behind.
Not be left behind.
Not be left behind.
Not be left
Not be left behind.
Se dejen atrás.
No se dejen atrás.
Not be left behind.
everybody's gonna become bilingual, okay? En español, okay?
Monica, you are muted.
Entonces, bomberos, fuerza.
Monica, you're still muted.
I'm so sorry. Okay, so cuando yo diga clases en línea de nuestros hijos, ustedes van a decir no abandonen el compromiso, okay? So vamos a hacer esto and everybody's gonna become bilingual now because we're gonna do it in Spanish.
Repítelo, Mónica, por favor.
Okay, so va a ser clases en línea de nuestros hijos. Ustedes van a decir no abandonen el compromiso, okay? So clases en línea de nuestros hijos, no abandonen el compromiso. Y ahora sí vienen las for real. Okay, so clases en línea de nuestros hijos.
Abandonen el compromiso.
Abandonen el compromiso.
Abandonen el compromiso.
No abandonen el compromiso.
No abandonen el compromiso.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for all your energy. And now we're gonna we're gonna ask Jasmine to take it away. Come on, Jasmine. Lead us to the next activity, please.
Thank you, Monica. I wish we can all be in one room at the same time doing this amazing chants. Unfortunately, we can, but thank God for Zoom, right? We were able to get our energy out. I'm here today to explain to you our current situation. As many of you may already know, but I want to clear some points out for you and get some clarity. So regardless of the results of the negotiation between CPS and CTU, our children are still going to be remote. Some of us choose remote for our children, and for those who choose a hybrid, you might be remote for 3 days a week. And high school students, well, they're completely remote. CPS current plan will guarantee that remote learning will suffer. That's why we are here today. We are here because we know that CPS has not done anything to improve remote learning during this pandemic. Remote students have not been at the center of thoughtful planning at all. We want to make something clear. We are not here to judge anybody for their decisions or their situation. We are here with one purpose, and that is to demand the respect that our remote students and families deserve. Most importantly, we are here to learn from each other about new ideas to improve learning and develop an action plan to make CPS listen to us
Con
and make
permiso,
changes.
con permiso, beautiful, beautiful woman. I hear the interpreter is muted, so if we could just take 1 minute for the interpreter to unmute.
I'm sorry. Should I start all over? I don't know what
she needed now.
We're good to go.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. Most importantly, we are here to learn from each other about new ideas to improve remote learning and develop an action plan to make CPS listen to us and make changes that will be beneficial and not harmful. Monica, take it again with another call to action, please.
Thank you, Jasmine. Before I introduce our next speaker, I would like to read a little piece of an email that her teacher sent to me yesterday. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. We don't have time for that, but I wish we had. But I just tried to summarize it for you guys this morning. So her name is Ms. Remes, and Ms. Remes said, getting an equitable education in a pandemic is a challenge, especially when teaching STEAM. We assume that students have little to nothing, and we make it work. Not only do we make it work, but we do it without a stigmatization. Not only I am happy to see Ms. Alma every morning, but the students are alike as well. I think about the students, they have recently moved to the United States and how scared and lonely they must be. Then I think about how happy they must be to see Ms. Perez and hear her voice. For students to know that they are not the first person to immigrate to a new country and not know the language, for them to see that learning never ends is genuinely inspirational. So I think she doesn't need an introduction, but I would like to present to you Alma Perez from McAuliffe Elementary.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Alma Pérez y les voy a hablar un poco de mi experiencia como padre mentor. He sido soy mamá de 3 hijos que en la escuela McAuliffe que asisten a esta escuela, y yo he sido padre mentor por 4 años, y estos años he estado con la señora Ms. Remes en STEAM, que se enfoca en ciencias, tecnología, ingeniería, arte y algunas veces en matemáticas. Y en el aula yo ayudaba a los estudiantes ayudándolos a elegir sus materiales para sus trabajos, y también ayudo hablando a los estudiantes cuando ellos no pueden comunicarse con la maestra, yo los traduzco a inglés y español. Y también los estudiantes sabían que cuando ellos me necesitaban más, yo podía trabajar con ellos uno a uno. Y los he ayudado también a los estudiantes que trabajan más a un ritmo más lento, los ayudo a completar sus tareas, también los animo a que las terminen. Y ahora durante las clases remotas, la maestra explica y yo ayudo traduciendo a los estudiantes en español. También ayudo en grupos pequeños durante la sala de Breakout Rooms. Por ejemplo, en las últimas semanas hemos estado trabajando en Tinkercad, que es un sitio donde puedes diseñar y crear objetos, avatars 3D. También hemos trabajado en la creación de música en un sitio llamado Incredibox y hemos estado creando galerías de arte en Google Slide y el profesor comparte los enlaces de los sitios para poder completar esos trabajos. Y yo en los breakout room comparto mi pantalla y puedo enseñarle a los niños paso a paso cómo completar estos trabajos. Y he visto a algunos estudiantes que han tenido dificultad, especialmente a dos de estos estudiantes que necesitan más, como yo les vaya diciendo paso a paso lo que deben hacer. Me tocó aprender para poderles enseñar a ellos también. Y de esta manera, por eso me gusta ser padre mentor, porque puedo ayudar a los estudiantes. Okay. Good morning, my name is Alma Perez. Today I'm going to talk about my experience as a parent mentor. At McAuliffe Elementary, I am a mother of 3 children who attend to this school. I have been parent mentor for 4 years. Those years I have been with Ms. Rimes and STEAM with focus on science, technology, engineering, art, and math. In the class, I am help the students by distributing or helping them to choose the materials for their work and giving them ideas. I also help students who did not speak English because they had just arrived in this country. They know that I am there and speak Spanish and I can help them. I also help students who work at school and encourage them to complete their assignments. The students also know that if they need more help, I can work with them one-on-one. Now during remote classes, the teacher explains and I help by translate for the students in Spanish. I also help small groups during breakout room. For example, in this recent week, we have worked in Tinkercad, which is the site where you can design and create 3D objects and avatars. We have also worked creating music on a slide called Incredibox, and we have been working an art gallery in Google Slides. The teacher shared the links to this site. I share screen with the students and teach them to step by step how to do this job. I have seen students who have struggled with work and show our dedication. Some of these students are now more engaged than ever. That is why I love being parent mentor.
Thank you, Alma. This dynamic duo is just proof of what you can do with if you put together love, compassion, and a common goal, what is the love for the kids. And this is only a representation of all the many parents out there and what we want and the teachers working together. So now I want to invite Jasmine to lead us in our next item in this program this morning.
Thank you, Alma, and thank you, Monica. That's amazing to hear that there is things that are working, and that's thanks to our parent-mentor program, but there is also things that are not working, unfortunately. Our amazing parent-mentor can be in every school, in every classroom. They cannot be assisting every student like we wished we could, Therefore, we have a special guest who will be sharing with us a testimony, Miss Irene from Coco.
Please let us know if you guys want to do the chant again, just saying, okay? I just put it out there.
Hello. Hello.
They can hear you now.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, Miss Irene.
Hi. My name is Irene Robinson. I'm with the Kenwood Oakland Community Organization, but I also have grandchildren that go to CPS. But to talk about parent mentors, they is very important to be part of the school and to work hands in hands with the teacher. I have the pleasure of being a parent mentor in Madison, and I work with the teachers and I work with the students. But to piggyback, long before parent mentors, that's what we had in our schools, parents. It was the parents and the teachers working together, and to build that structure back with parents, back and assisting the teachers and working with the students, that is very important for the growth and development of our children. And from my own experience of fighting for schools, and to be impacted in a way where I know that the decisions that CPS and the mayor make for our children is deadly and is harmful. And we as parents must stand together and fight for equity in all schools to make sure that no child left behind, because it's too many children have been left behind on the watch of CPS and the mayor. And these are our children. And we must be the ones to determine their education. And what do strong, sustainable community schools look like is important. We talk about remote learning, and it's important that every decision that CPS make, that parents is at that table. Y'all must be at that table. The student voices must be heard. So I just want to thank all the parents here today, and to let you know, even though we in the COVID-19 and we home remote learning, and some parents want to choose to send their children back, we have to make sure it's safe for all children. So how that look like all communities is different. Our needs is different than other needs, right? So we have to come together, and we have to reimagine on how our schools should look, and don't continue to follow CPS direction, because we know it leads to failure. So I just want to thank everybody, and to let you know that before COVID-19, we was in an education crisis and children have been harmed. So it's time for us to come together and really show the true democracy for public education, because when your child hurt, that hurts me. So we all have to look like these are our children. And wherever you see a fight at, when they talk about closing schools, disinvesting in schools, not providing service for the parents, we stand up and we fight back. Because they have already failed us, and we cannot trust CPS. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you, Miss Irene, for your testimony and your words. There's something that I will have to agree with you out of all the amazing things you said. But one thing that really stuck out was before the pandemic, we were already in crisis. I, as a CPS graduate, I went to a CPS school, grammar school, high school, and I've seen the struggle. I faced the struggle even before the pandemic. And now that my child goes to a CPS school, I don't want her to struggle the same way that I did. So it's definitely something that needs a lot of work, but that's the reason why we're here. And it's important for us to not forget that. Now, up next, I will introduce our draft platform. Our draft platform of demands that was created by CPS youth and CPS parents for the last couple of weeks. They did amazing work where they worked on a platform to reimagine the education during a pandemic, and hopefully even after the pandemic is over. So what could it be? How do you imagine a whole different curriculum, a whole different way of remote learning? Can you imagine that? And that is trust, learning, and care, also known as TLC. Those are 3 words that you have to keep in mind: trust, learning, and care. Let me explain what exactly we mean by our first letter, the T for trust. Let me explain that, and then I'm gonna have 2 amazing leaders jump on right after me to explain what care is and what learning is, okay? As a CPS parent, like I mentioned, and as a CPS graduate, I don't trust CPS, and perhaps many people on here don't either. Therefore, we demand minimum staffing requirements, meaning that schools should not be open if they are not fully staffed. We also demand minimum training requirements, meaning that staff must be properly trained. We demand no locked out educators. This is self-explanatory because we believe that every student deserves an educator. All along with all the other demands, we also demand transparency. We demand a public COVID tracker that will indicate when CPS safety protocols are not being implemented. Why do we want this? Very simple. We need the rules to be followed in order for us to be safe. Lastly, we demand school stakeholder involvement. By this, we mean that parents, youth, students, educators should have the same right to monitor and provide feedback for a safety plan. How does that sound? Does that sound like we deserve all of this? It's about time we get it, huh? So up next, now you will hear from Nicole, an amazing parent leader and advocate who will talk to you about our second component of our platform, which is learning. Nicole, take the floor. During this time that Nicole is getting situated, I just want to make sure that the translation is working. Can I get some thumbs up? Yeah,
okay.
Everything.
Better?
Yes, Nicole.
I think I accidentally pressed stay mute when you tried to unmute me. Thank you. My name is Nicole Abreu, and I have 3 kiddos in CPS in kindergarten, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade, so pretty young. And my oldest is a diverse learner with multiple disabilities. And they all attend Young School. Now, learning, those who need the most get the most. I think that we've been hearing a lot about the resources that have been going into hybrid instruction and what is going to be given to schools and to kids who are going back to the building. Now we know 2/3 and more now as people change back to remote are going to be fully remote and learning fully online. And aside from that, in most schools, even the ones who are going hybrid will be spending the majority of their time in remote learning. And so we need to really come back to how we can improve remote learning, which will be with us in some form for the rest of the school year. Now, number 1 here is pandemic responsive training. I feel like that's a little bit general, but we really need to think about how our teachers, administrators, parents, families can receive training and support to make their instruction and supports for families centered around the trauma, the collective trauma that we're all experiencing in this pandemic. Even when we go back to schools, it will not be like normal, regular school because life is not normal and regular. And we need to think about how those teachers and curriculum and everything can be centered in a responsive, proactively responsive to the pandemic. We need to double our efforts to eliminate the digital divide. There's very small percentage of families who are eligible for the free internet have actually gotten it and signed on. In some cases, they're saying it's not even adequate to actually access multiple people to access the education and remote learning online. So we need to make sure that it's high quality, fast speed internet. In addition, there are a lot of people who don't spend their remote learning day in their main residence, maybe at abuelita's house, a cousin's house, etc. So we need to think about how other people besides just the primary caregiver can get access to that. Start planning with special education students first. I can tell you it's my 4th year in CPS with a diverse learner, and special education students, even before the pandemic, were not prioritized in scheduling, right? You know, LBS and, sorry, I'm in the middle. Okay, sorry, you know, life, they don't have school today. So, you know, before the pandemic, we had special education classroom assistants, special ed teachers pulled whenever a gen ed teacher, they couldn't find a sub. I mean, that was happening before the pandemic, but even now it's more important that so many SPED students are gonna be staying remote to really plan that instruction and those resources around their services and supports and minutes, and commit to not pulling SICAs and special education teachers. Now, more tech materials and manipulatives. You know, I have noticed for my diverse learner, it's not just about getting a computer. She needed a lot more assistive technology to make remote learning accessible to her, and a lot of people aren't getting those. We need to make it more widely available and make the process less cumbersome. Took me a full year to get her Google Read and Write, an accessibility app, you know, things like that. 70% low-income school creativity grants. That's a mouthful, but mostly what we're saying is that not every school has a Friends of that can raise funds. Most of our schools, the vast majority, are Title I schools that struggle to have any extra funding beyond bare bones staffing and needs of the students. So we need to get these schools some grants, some money, some funds to be able to do more creative things like create home learning kits for their kids and sending materials home. Public tech support. You know, CPS has tech support for their staff and for their teachers, but we have families who are in this whole new world, and we need tech support too. We need someone that's public facing support that we can call in. Our teachers, our admins are, you know, al tope, like they can't take anything else onto their plate. They help as much as they can, but they need to be dedicated to teaching and to servicing the kids. And we need some sort of centralized tech support. And do no harm for remote learners. Don't cut our instructional minutes. Don't make us watch a live stream of a math teacher and call it instruction. Don't take away special education instructional minutes and say, do this packet instead. You need to really listen and work with parents for what those kids need. Maybe some families want less screen time, and some people don't want to give up that live teacher time. So you really need to work with parents and think about what will not cause harm to remote learners. And respect and support local school council autonomy. Every school is different. My child's school doesn't have enough staff to open safely. We're still looking for cadre subs. We're still looking to see how we're going to supervise kids whose teachers have remote working accommodations. We need more staff, we need more help. And our admin doesn't even have the decision-making power to let teachers who don't have students in person teach from the safety of their home. So we need to give principals and LSCs more autonomy and how to make this safe and workable plan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicole. That was a very great testimony, and it was full of truth. So thank you for that. Before we move on to our next guest, our next leader, we want to please remind the media, all the media that is on this call, to please rename yourself as media. That way you can participate, or if you wish to ask questions, you can. And also, if you need to be in a Spanish breakout room, to please put a star in the front of your name for that to happen successfully. So quiero también, por favor, decirles a todos que si usted gusta, está en una sala en español, por favor, renombrarse y poner una signo de asterisco enfrente de su nombre para que puedan ser divididos en un grupo de español. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Now we can move on to our next speaker that will introduce our platform for care. And that will be Miss Bridget.
Thank you, Jasmine. Good morning, everybody. My name is Bridget White. I have 2 students in CPS. I have a 5th grader and a 7th grader. They are at Poe and at Sutherland. I'm also a parent mentor with the support group, and I also sit on the PBG, the Parent Board of Governors. So as we stated, I'm here today to talk about care. Jasmine, can we go to the care PowerPoint slide, please? Thank you. So first, I can't stress this enough. We need to stop pretending that we're not still in the middle of a pandemic. We have to start investing in care, because the care portion is really important to our families right now. We have broken this out into 2 categories because, again, as stated, this is input from the parents and from the students of what they feel is needed pertaining to care. So the first category is care for school community. These are bullet points that we feel in order for the schools to be successful for the community. These are things that our families really need at this point in time. So the first piece is more mental health services and providers. We need CPS to be responsible to make this accessible to our families, the children and their parents, because at this point, they really need these resources. With this pandemic, we don't know what they're dealing with, and mental health is very important. And we need to make sure, not just academically, but we support the mental health for families as well. And they need to provide resources to our families who's in need of this. Next, we need the culture of SEL. SEL is social emotional learning. This is where ways are taught to effectively apply attitudes, emotions, and show empathy. And this is what we need from CPS, is to show empathy to our families. This is very key to build into everyday practices, because this will helpfully affect everyone if we can build SEL as a component of everyday practices, not just a one-time, not just a one occurrence, but we need this built into their everyday platform of learning is SEL. Next, we need pandemic passes. This is pertaining to our youth and their grades. Again, we are in the middle of a pandemic. This youth might have lost a loved one. Their families may have lost their job. So we need pandemic passes granted to them pertaining to their grades, because we don't know where they might be slipping, and we need to find out ways of what's going on with them and be able to grant pandemic passes for them at this point in time. Our next category is care for the family components, because in addition to school and academics, we want to make sure that we do things as resources from CPS that's going to help our families in their community. First, we need to expand learning hubs by 500%. Many of our parents are essential workers, so we need to be able to provide and maintain things that can help them. So learning hubs would do this. If we can get 60 learning hubs for our essential worker families, this is a start from CPS that they need to be able to do for our families. Next, we need to connect and support our families. What I mean by that is we need CPS to partner with organizations that can actually reach out to the families and find out why the student is being absent. There, again, we're in the middle of a pandemic. There might be reasons that they're not logging on. Sending an email, making a phone call is not enough. And we don't expect them to just be able to make the teachers to be able to do this. So partner with some organizations that this is their area of pertaining to mental health, pertaining to assisting families. Build these partnerships with other organizations so we can find out why aren't these students logging on? What has happened in their household? Because if you don't have internet, you're not getting an email to find out what's going on. If your phone has been cut off due to job loss, again, you don't know why the families aren't logging on. So we need CPS to step up and partner with organizations that can help them find out what has happened to the families. Lastly, we need family education and microgrants. We're asking CPS, no, we're demanding CPS to seek out grants to assist families. There's money that families are spending and resources to help their children with remote learning. And we're demanding CPS to seek out grants to help these families. Help them be with the success of their children to make sure that remote learning works. And this is why these are key areas. The care part is just as important as everything else, because we have to holistically look at the child and their families and what's going on. Because we can make remote learning if we make the proper, as CPS makes the proper investment to do these things that can help the families. Now I'm going to turn this back over because we are about to go into our breakout rooms at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. That was amazing. Now I'm going to turn it over to Monica, who is going to explain to us what we will be doing next. So excited.
Thank you, Jasmine. I'm so excited as well. Oh my God, I got goosebumps. I don't know about you guys, but we're gonna continue the TLC in our rooms and building that collective power. So we're gonna be joining our breakout rooms, since we have been saying since the start of this event. So I wanna say thank you to Raise Your Hands, BPNC, LSNA, and SWAP. We have 25 rooms, and each room will have 2 facilitators from different partner organizations. And then we're gonna be asking questions. Your facilitators are gonna be asking questions and then collecting the feedback from all of you, because we wanna hear what you really think. So we're gonna ask to please have 1 note-taking and facilitator, and then BPNC will be sending out instructions, and then and having a note form where they're going to be collecting all the data. So please have wonderful conversations, and don't feel like you don't have something to say, because I'm pretty sure everybody has something to say. And I hope you have a very powerful breakout sessions, and then we're going to come back again, and we're going to have a little bit of the feedback, wonderful feedback that you guys are going to be having and building on that collective power, like I mentioned before. So is everybody ready to join your rooms, your breakout rooms? Are you guys excited? Well, I can hear you because you're muted, but you can do like a sign motion, something to let us know that you guys are as excited as we are. And without any further ado, we're gonna be joining our rooms or breakout rooms now. Awesome. So we want to hear those amazing conversations. We wish we had time to hear everybody and those rooms filled with power, and everybody had different opinions and great ideas. So how can we continue the work and organizing? But I hate to call out on people, but to the time that we have, I'm gonna have to call out on some people. Just give me 1 second. Everybody was fired up. So how about if we hear from Ms. Leticia Barrera from LS&E? Can you share in 1 quick minute? And then maybe we can call out on another folk. And hate you to put you on the spot, but we're all leaders here. So Leticia Barrera, can you unmute
Thank you,
yourself?
Monica. Thank you, Monica. So my name is Leticia Barrera. In my group, there were like 12 amazing leaders working directly in the classrooms. They know the community and they are raising their voice saying, thank you everyone who put together this forum because they agree with the TLC. Everything is very, very important, and they emphasize that they support the teachers, but the community too, the students. It is okay to don't go back to schools and until we have a safety plan. They say also that is no trust between CPS and parents, and that it takes time, that this group is the people that CPS should be talking in order to provide the guidelines in order to go back to school. They also emphasize that the plan, the TLC should be explicit on by vaccination. So they say that it's okay if the students are not learning everything during this year. The most important is to keep our children and our teachers alive. Lives cannot go back. So learning, you can learn at any time. They also say that they will continue motivating the students, their own children and the students in the community, to keep them remote learning. And so they are very proud to be part of this group, putting this TLC together. What it says, I'm sorry, I'm reading those notes here from my book. Also very important, they say that for bilingual education, so important for remote learning to make more meaningful is for our students to receive books or like materials in Spanish, and that CPS should be put energy on delivering packages to every single student, and to make priorities on like a really like looking the needs for each student, for each family. Andrea, there is something that I'm missing?
No, I think you got everything. And I think I will send it off to someone from BPNC to share out. And I'll send it to Adilene.
Hello, everyone. So in my group, we discussed a little bit about the TLC platform, and it seems like everyone was on the same page in terms of saying that the TLC platform was a really well thought out platform, and that everyone agreed with it. And I think the main message that we talked about in my group was that there definitely needs to be more support and training for both parents and teachers when we continue to do remote learning, because what I'm hearing is that like some students don't have that parental support at home to encourage them to go onto the computer and to do remote learning every day. And if they don't understand how to do something or how to pull up a document, the parent won't be there to support them. So the easiest thing is to just log off. And also what my group shared out was that even like some of us here have a lot of access to these spaces and like to all this information. But what about those parents that don't and that don't have access to like these beautiful groups where like we're able to discuss this and like where your voices are able to be heard? Like those parents that don't have that support and don't have access to that, how are we making sure that they also are being supported and that they're understanding the information that's being shared. So yeah, that's what my group discussed.
Thank you, ladies, for that powerful information, and we can't wait to continue doing the work. So now I would like to invite, raise your hand so they can adjourn us on our meeting and tell us about the next steps and the following actions, because this doesn't end today. This is just the beginning. So take it away, you guys.
Absolutely, thank you. For those who don't know, my name is John Ann. I'm the director here at Raise Your Hand. I just want to start us and remind us why we're here. This Sunday, the mayor of our city about remote learning said we've done everything that we can to make it work as good as possible. But what we're hearing today, when I see on that through your notes, what is shared out is that we can do way more, right? So thank you so much for providing feedback. We have a lot of reading to do over this weekend. The demands under trust, learning, and care are common sense demands. This is not about CTU versus CPS. This is not about a political fight. This is about what Chicago families deserve. Can you go to the next slide, please? So we're gonna work hard to produce a public draft by early next week. And then we will send out to everyone here, we have all your contacts about what we need to do. And we're gonna take this to CPS and they need to hear us. But it's been 11 months and we've been trying to talk to CPS and they're not listening. So we know we need to do more than just present this plan to CPS. We know we need to do more to make sure they actually listen to us. So I'm gonna put up a poll that goes over all the different things when we release this next week, what we can do. And I'm gonna read through it and then we'll have time to vote. So I just launched it. So in order for our TLC demands to be heard next week when we release them, what can we do to continue to add, build power together and add pressure? So please check off everything that you think you are gonna commit to. Can you share these demands with 2 or more parents and youth? Can you send a letter to the mayor and the CPS explaining why you need TLC? Can you share with your school communities, your LSCs, your PACs, your BACs? Can you join us on our weekly Tuesday meetings, organizing meetings at 6:30? Those will always be simultaneously interpreted, so will always be accessible to Spanish. Can you post a video about what your family needs? Are you willing to speak to the press about your story? Do you want to talk to elected officials, right? We have majority of aldermen who are concerned, dozens of state legislators who are concerned, and they keep talking about parents' demands. Well, here are some parent and youth demands they can support. And then we're also looking for folks if they want to build a parent workshop around why they need T, which is trust, why they need L, need to improve learning, and why they need C, more care. So I'm gonna give it about 30 more seconds, and then I'm gonna end the poll. So please vote, y'all, and we will follow up with you early next week when we do one more iteration once we look at all the feedback y'all have given. Share results, right? It looks like we have a lot of folks who are ready to work. We have a lot of folks who are ready to share their story. We have a lot of folks who want these demands to come true, right? So thank you so much for spending the time with us today about building collective power. Thank you y'all for coming with us and reimagining remote learning. Have a wonderful day, y'all. Be well. We will